Hi guys! So today I'm going to go over how to decorate your small apartment space. So whether you're living in a studio, a one bedroom, or just a small apartment in general, or a small space in general, today's video we're going to cover how to make the most out of that space. So the first tip that we want to cover is maximizing your storage space. So one of the biggest challenges of living in a small apartment is finding enough storage space. So to maximize storage space, consider using furniture that doubles as storage, such as ottomans, bed frames, built-in drawers, and shelves that can be mounted to the wall. Take advantage of the space that's under your bed or above cabinets and on your walls. Don't be scared to go vertical in a small space to allow for a lot of extra storage. And be creative. I feel like you could really go down a TikTok rabbit hole where they have a lot of really great storage solution videos. I'm not gonna lie, I'm very much obsessed with those like little container videos. I love them. So, those will give you lots of inspiration. But just thinking about taking items in your space and doubling them for multiple uses and to get that extra storage that you need. So the second tip is to use color and pattern to create the illusion of more space. So using color and pattern strategically can make a small apartment feel more spacious. Lighter colors like whites, beiges, and pastels can make a space feel brighter and airier, while darker colors can make it feel smaller. Now I'm going to put an asterisk here. Although sometimes we feel like dark colors can make the space feel smaller, and I do want to highlight that because it really does depend on the look you're going for. If you have a more maximalist vibe or you like that kind of really cozy, intimate vibe, then don't be afraid to use dark colors in your small space. It really does depend what you're going for. If you want it to feel bigger, definitely aim for the lighter. But if you don't mind kind of highlighting that it's not a big space, but you want to go for that cozy factor, then opt for the darker and more bold colors. So that's just a little caveat to that. Some other things that you want to do is add some visual interest. So incorporate pattern through accessories like your rugs, your curtains, and your throw pillows. So just because you have a small space, even if you do decide to go on a more neutral palette, add that life and brightness through your accessories. And like I said, if you're a maximalist, then go all out. So the third tip for your space is to invest in multifunctional furniture. So multifunctional furniture can really be a game changer when it comes to decorating a small apartment. So consider looking for furniture pieces that can serve multiple purposes, such as a coffee table that doubles as a desk or a sofa that converts into a bed. This will really help make the most of your space without sacrificing style. Now there is a company that makes these really great expandable furniture pieces. So something that could be a console table can convert to a dining table. Those are really great pieces. Those are a little bit more expensive, but if you have a little bit of a budget to spend, I would highly consider looking at some of those type of items where they can really do double duty and take it beyond just some of the typical items that we see. I'll include a link for them below. Not sponsored, just a really cool product that does some really interesting, different types of designs and furniture pieces for a small space. So tip number 4 is all about lighting. You really want to think about your lighting when you have a small space or a small apartment that you're trying to decorate and design. So a small room can really open up when you have the right lighting. In addition to letting in natural light, so having that shine through the windows, use additional lighting throughout your space to really bring in some additional warmth. And if you don't have room for floor or table lamps, choose lighting options that don't take up any prime real estate, like a string light, wall sconces, or even pendant lights. So I feel like a lot of times when you have a small space, you feel like you have to kind of ditch the regular size furniture. That's not always the case. The next tip that we have is really thinking about how you place that furniture strategically. So you want to try to keep your bigger items around more of the perimeter of the space. You want to create and maintain a feeling of depth in the room by keeping your larger items, so think something like a hutch or a couch or a bookcase, but you want to keep that more up against a wall instead of in the middle of the room. So a lot of times when we have larger spaces, we will kind of bring things off of the walls, and that is kind of a design tip as well. But in a smaller space, we want to do the exact opposite. We want to push things out and allow the space to kind of feel bigger by utilizing the perimeter of the space as much as we possibly can. So one of my favorite design tips in a small space, as somebody who has lived in a 400 square foot apartment, yes, I have lived in a very, very tiny space, and that is the use of mirrors. Now, I guess 400 square feet might not be that tiny anymore. Back when I lived there, it was kind of tiny, but I feel like there are micro apartments now that are like 100 and something square feet. So from my experience, 400 square feet was quite tiny. So the use of mirrors is great in a small space. It really does do double duty. So what I love about mirrors is it adds in additional light because it helps the light bounce around the space, but it also makes the space just feel bigger. It really gives the illusion of additional square footage within your space. Something that I like to do when I had my small apartment was one big large mirror that really kind of anchors the space, and you can still put stuff, like around it. Doesn't have to be just right there, but it really does add a beautiful visual interest to the space as well as makes it feel bigger. If you buy a really beautiful large mirror, it almost becomes like a piece of artwork, which is also nice. So a big tip when we're talking about your small space is, as much as I am a lover of maximalist vibes, if you want the space to feel bigger, it might be time to declutter. So thinking about clutter and not keeping too much stuff. So going for more of a minimalist vibe will help your space feel larger. And one of my favorite tips when it comes to a small space, and I feel like this is any space, and if you've watched a few of my videos, you will not be surprised, and that is to add in plants. Adding in plants and greenery and flowers to a small space can really help bring additional life. People generally feel better when they have lots of plants. And it doesn't have to go overboard, but it does have a really good effect on our own, mental health and our wellness, and help purify the air. And in a small space, it just makes it feel really, really homey. One of the tips, if you don't have a green thumb, don't worry about it. You can actually invest in some fake plants. They're not as taboo as they once were. And they have really, really good quality ones now that you kind of can't even tell that they're fake. And they still look really great and just add that extra level of depth and beauty to your space. So although a small space definitely has its limitations, it doesn't mean that you have to not have a really great sense of style in that space. By adding in some of these tips, you can help make the space feel larger, and you can make it feel just as well designed as any space out there. So happy decorating with your beautiful small space. All right, guys, until next time, bye.